Not only is Robert Downey Jr. enabled by his wife, he enables the careers of abusers in Hollywood. I know I've been talking about him and his relationships and how he uses women as a crutch, right? He would not be alive without these women, and he basically has a bunch of women in his wake that he was in relationships with. Like, the dude's a hobosexual, by the way. That's another video. That's what he did with Sarah Jessica Parker. But anyway, that's the other video. Just stay tuned. But this man is why Mel Gibson has a career right now. And Mel Gibson is one of the worst. And there's been lots of reports on, in Hollywood, nothing gets resurrected more often than Mel Gibson or Robert Downey Jr. or Shia LaBeouf. And all these dudes are friends. So let's just recap why Mel Gibson sucks so much. Remember, he had that whole thing with the cops. You can read this if you want. I'm not going to say this stuff out loud. He's also not just been accused, but found guilty of domestic violence. There's literally tapes of him, okay, saying that she deserved him hitting her. This is the mother of his child that he's hitting. You can read all this if you want to. I'm not saying it out loud. And right after all this happened, guess what? Jodie Foster hired him on a movie she was directing. So let's just refresh on why Jodie Foster sucks before we get back to Robert Downey Jr. I have told y'all this before, but women who center men, women who enable men are just as dangerous as the men themselves, because they're the ones who usher in these men's redemption, their forgiveness, so that they can continue to abuse women. Men could not get away with this without the help of women. Okay, so I'm not just like, oh, men suck. This is in us too. Okay, we have been conditioned to center men, overlook their red flag, believe their lies, enable them, let them suck from our everything like little parasite king babies they are, and they do this so they can then go on to abuse other people, including women and children. Because if Jodie Foster says he's certainly not sexist and certainly not racist, a white woman giving a white man a pass on he's definitely not racist, how would you know? Shut up. We do not get to forgive people who harm other people. That forgiveness comes from that group of people. So when Robert Downey Jr. tries to tell us to forgive Mel Gibson, for instance, for domestic violence, punching his ex-wife, whatever, unless you have been in this situation, being terrorized by a man, shut up, okay? And Jodie and white women, we don't get to forgive men or anyone for being racist. That is not our lane. We don't get to forgive them. Anyway, look at this. I know somebody who's really emotional. Yeah, that's the problem. Who I can have a long, long conversation with, who's trustworthy, who shows up for me. This sounds like Jennifer Aniston and all the other enablers who are like, no, he was never bad to me. Yeah, of course. Just because he's never been bad to you doesn't mean he's not beating all the other women in his life. He's not a perfect person, okay? He's a complicated person. That's why I love him. He's complicated. He's not just some guy who wants to pose for GQ. He lived a real life. Unlike the rest of you idiots who never beat women. I'm forever grateful for his performance, and I can't imagine anyone else bringing this much to it. Jodie, eat a bark. Seriously. Go heal your trauma. Go deconstruct patriarchy and shh. And then she also was like, he's not an anti-Semite, okay? There's no secret that he's always fought his terrible battle with alcoholism. This is what they all say. This is why I've been talking about this so much, y'all. Ooh, all these guys, they're just addicts. He can burn a man alive, but he's an addict. It's okay. He went to a group. Although this guy's still drinking. He's an addict. Let's excuse all of his behavior. By the way, there's a video coming because this guy, more information has come out. Let's just say that. He's an addict. So what if he hits his kid and his wife on a plane? He's an addict. He's sober now. It's okay. He's just an addict. And I say this as somebody who has struggled with my own addiction. I've lost people to addiction. And I've also been on the receiving end of violence from people who were addicts. Their addiction does not make them violent. Sobering up does not cure them. And just because another addict who has this big ego and just keeps cruising in Hollywood forgives you, and that doesn't mean you're forgiven, bro. Now remember, this is the guy who is backing this guy. Poor Shia and his little demons. Poor addict. Stop. I know so many addicts who have never done what these men have done. But because of Mel Gibson, who convinced him to go, be Catholic, go hang out with a bunch of pernos, and you're good. Look at this. Look at this. Meanwhile, it is all to clear his name and rebrand before he faces justice for what he did to this amazing woman, FKA Twigs, okay? Don't forgive him just because Mel Gibson did. Or Robert Downey Jr. probably will. And just because this priest, you can't see his name, is like, oh, we love having Shia in the church. So remember, no contest to misdemeanor of domestic violence. Punched her in the head. Like, Mel Gibson has been known for being racist, sexist, hit the mother of his children in the head. But Robert Downey Jr., thanks to Robert Downey Jr., Mel Gibson has a career. He publicly supported Mel Gibson after the actor was accused of domestic violence. And then in his acceptance speech for an award, he thanked Mel Gibson and asked everyone to forgive Mel Gibson. Because if any of you people can't say that you're not without sin. He loves to be the one person who will forgive all these men who abuse women because he's been in jail. He understands. Perhaps he felt that he owed Mel that because Mel Gibson is the one who saved Robert Downey's career. He paid for his insurance bond for this film, and whatever. These guys all do. They all do this for each other. The enablers enable. Robert Downey's like, nobody's perfect, okay? Welcome to the club. But see, Robert Downey Jr. thinks it's his mission to save every broken soul, as if he's not himself still broken. As if he is literally not admit that his wife is his primary caregiver. This is like what he's doing in all of this reminds me of search and rescue men and firefighters. I tell you all the time, this like, oh, I'm a hero. I'm going to save people even though I'm messed up. He did this whole speech about how Mel saved his career. He didn't have a roof over his head, blah, 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 because of all the insane things he did. Nobody should have trusted this man. They had every right to not trust this man, but Mel was like, hey, embrace that part of your soul that's ugly. Hug the cactus. Hug the cactus, okay? Now, they always like to say that Mel Gibson was canceled. I'm sorry. He's got these 3 upcoming director gigs. He never stopped working. He's got producing gigs coming up. Like, there's no real breaks in his acting career. And he's got 3 more coming up. Oh, and then he won an Academy Award in 2017. An Oscar. So Mel Gibson came back thanks to Robert Downey Jr., who only came back thanks to Mel Gibson. So the cycle of abusers enabling abusers just never stops. And then remember this track? This guy, Sandra Bullock's ex, Robert Downey Jr. swoops in. This is the most glorious storm ever. The ex-husband serial cheater, Jesse James, got in trouble for doing some Nazi stuff. And the way the media reports on it, they're like, Robert Downey Jr., God bless him. He comes in and he loves to be the mentor that everybody needs but nobody deserves. So when no one else will speak up for this dude who sucks, who is awful to Sandra Bullock, who also did this, Robert Downey Jr. is like, hey, I will defend him. And this is exactly what they do. And instead of focusing on all the things that this man did, Jesse James, whatever, like the dude was like cheating on Sandra Bullock, like ruining her life. But he suffered an abusive childhood, traumatizing parental relationship, broken home, and difficult marred by blah, 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 blah. And it took away his ability to trust anybody. So, these words by Robert Downey really meant a lot. Oh, he has a hard time trusting. I wonder what that's like. These men think they're the only ones who've ever been abused. So they could just abuse and do whatever. And then their enabler, swoop in.